Hey everybody, welcome to the Crushing Defeat podcast. My name is Blake Richards. With me is Dan Burrington.
Are we going right now?
We're going right now. It's starting. Oh God.
Oh boy. No, I'm here. I'm ready. Hi everyone. The Crushing Defeat podcast. We crush dreams.
Yep. His name is Dan Burrington. My name is Blake Richards. And we are here today to talk once again about the phenomenon that is Pokemon GO.
Yeah, so after our first episode on Pokemon GO, there have been a lot of things happening, a lot of updates, and we wanted to cover some of that.
Yes, we did. Absolutely. It is knucking futz, this game. Knucking futz. And when we first talked to you, Dan, I think I was level 6. And you were level, what were you at, like 10 or something?
Yeah, probably.
And now we're in the 20s. So we have gained quite a bit of knowledge and education through doing about the game. But there are a few things that we wanted to cover first before we get into the nitty-gritty of the game, because there have also been more cultural impacts from this phenomenon. So Dan, what's happened for Nintendo with this game?
Okay, so long story short, Nintendo stock skyrocketed when the game came out. But I knew it was funny because I knew that Nintendo only owns a small slice of the Pokemon Company, number one, and then of Pokemon Go, number two, because they're just basically buying licensing from the Pokemon Company for it. So Niantic is getting the lion's share of this. Anyhow, stock goes through the roof, more than doubles Nintendo's shares, and then everybody realized that that's not all of Nintendo's money. And the Wii U also crashed big and hard, and they've lost almost all of those gains, all in the span of about 2.5 weeks.
Really? So wait, what happened? They had a stock doubling and then they lost the gains?
Yeah, they lost almost all the gains. And Nintendo had to come out. They said, listen, we do not own all of Pokemon Go. We own a small part of it.
Oh.
And I think that was due diligence on their part. They might have done it sooner, but I think they had a fiscal responsibility to come out and say, hey, people buying our stock, listen, we do not own all of this stuff.
Right, because obviously, as we know, Niantic is the developer, and I'm sure they have the rest of that.
They got most of the cheese, man. Niantic they're the ones that are reaping the benefits.
So they're basically, Niantic is the muscle behind it. They're the developers. They're the ones who created it, and they're just kind of for a piece of the pie using Nintendo's IP or intellectual property, which is the Pokemon franchise. Is that fair?
That's fair, but again, like I said before, it's even more split up from that because there is Nintendo, and then there's a company called the Pokemon Company. Mm-hmm. The Pokemon Company is owned partially by Nintendo and partially by another group, and that company is the one that actually owns the IP, the intellectual property of Pokemon.
All right, so there's a lot of people with their hands in the cookie jar on this, which is good because they're all going to make money. At the end of the day, they're all going to benefit from this. If you listen to Niantic CEO speak at Comic-Con, you can just tell that they want this to be an MMO that lasts. They don't want this to be something that, fizzles out very quickly. So they have big ideas on how to continue to make this game worth playing and worth continuing to invest time in. I'm kind of excited about that because I honestly, Dan, really do like the getting outside piece of it, getting out into the world. We've gone out walking quite a few times and gotten really good exercise from this. I've gone out and probably ridden my bike more since the game's come out, since I have in a long time. And what's nice for anybody who owns a bike out there, it is a great way to get those eggs to hatch from, your 5K, 2K, or 10K eggs.
Yeah, we went out. We walked. There was that day we kind of just tried to make like an efficient Pokemon walk, and we hung out and talked the whole time and had a good time, but we just kept on going and going. It's like, should we go here? Sure. Should we go here? Sure. And there, we didn't have a tracker on our phone at the time to see how far we had walked, but I mapped it out, and we walked almost 5 miles in one night. Yeah. That's more than I traditionally walk.
Well, and what's great about it is it was 5 miles, but it didn't feel like 5 miles. I mean, I didn't get done and go, oh my goodness, I feel like I just walked for a bunch and didn't like it. I remember when we went backcountry hiking, and obviously we've got 50 pounds of gear on our back or whatever, but it was much more noticeable, obviously, when we were walking out in the woods than when we're walking around kind of catching Pokemon, and there's that, other piece where you're not even thinking about what you're doing.
True.
That was also the same night that I lied to that girl about where that one Pokemon was, which wasn't very nice of me. But anyway, that girl sucked.
That poor girl, she came up and she said, what? I don't even remember what Pokemon it was.
It was the one with the, skull mask on it.
Oh, Cubone.
Yeah, Cubone. Yep, that's the one.
And she said, have you guys seen this? And Blake said, oh, I saw it earlier, and then generally pointed in a direction, and I was like, dude, we didn't see it back there. And 3 minutes later, he's like, oh yeah, I caught that earlier. Completely flaked on it, sent this poor girl in a totally random direction.
Yeah, my brain didn't work, so what had happened is the egg had opened up in that general area, and I had gotten it, and so I kind of pointed her towards where my egg had hatched. So maybe she had an egg that hatched, and it was the same one. So yeah, anyway, she hopefully had a Cubone that hatched from her egg. But what was funny about that is there was a gym we had just taken over where I pointed her towards, and later we were walking back and we noticed that that gym had been taken over by her. So she got sweet, sweet revenge on us for pointing her in the wrong direction.
Indeed.
Yep.
I didn't point her in the wrong direction.
Yeah,
karma's on you, man.
When we pointed her in the wrong direction, guilty by association, Dan, she took over our gym.
My Pokédex is clean.
Your Pokédex is not clean. You need potpourri for your Pokédex because it is Popey stinky. That's gonna be a thing. So there's some stuff coming. There'll be an update coming. There's not a lot of real specifics, but those of out there yet. But those of you looking for trading or additional Pokemon to be added to the Pokédex, even things like customizable Pokéstops for your team. These are all cool things that you can look forward to that Niantic CEO talked about in Comic-Con. I know right now they're just trying to get a handle on stability. They're just trying to make it so that the servers work consistently. I've noticed a vast improvement. It is much more rare that I have server issues. Dan, I don't know what your experience is.
Yeah, I think it's been better. I think that probably users have leveled off a little bit because we've gotten past that insane craze period to a certain extent. And I think, right now they're just trying to keep their heads above water. I think that features will have to come out at some point in time to keep people in the game, but they're going to be slow about bringing that stuff out. I think trading will probably be first out of those. But they did talk about the team leaders. So there's going to be 3 team leaders for each team. And it's just basically an avatar that you can interact with in the game for your team.
Oh, like an NPC, like a non-player character? Okay.
Yeah, there's, and I don't have their names at the ready, but there is a lady for Team Valor. There's another lady for Mystic, and then Instinct has a little emo dude.
Nice.
Little blonde emo dude.
That's totally Instinct to have the little emo dude. Freaking Instinct. Terrible. Instinct's avatar is actually Big Bird. I don't know if everyone's seen that.
That's the legendary. Yeah, the legendary bird that they get.
The legendary bird is Big Bird bumbling through some colored boxes and knocking them all over.
Yeah, right now there's not really any specific benefit to what team you go with other than fighting for gems, but they're saying that based on what you picked, that is the legendary bird that you will end up getting.
Yeah.
So, or not end up getting, but that's kind of what the end game is going to be for the short term, is grinding away to get the legendary bird of your choice, either the water or the electric or the fire.
Yeah, so if your team Instinct and you get Big Bird, then you'll be able to use your Pokemon to get rid of the smelliness of your team because you're Team Instinct.
Yeah, the Pokemon.
Yeah, Pokemon. All right, so exceeded 50 million downloads already. This is like the biggest thing ever. You know, Dan, to your point about it leveling off, I went out last night. I was a little nervous. There are really two big places downtown Grand Rapids. One is Rosa Parks Circle, and the other is a few blocks away. It's a corner where there are 4 churches.
There's churches and there's a school, and basically it's like there's 4 stops that you can be in all at the same time.
Yep, right on this corner. And I went there, and there was only a couple people there. And I was like, oh no, what happened to the game? I was kind of bummed because I'm still pretty excited about it. And I was a little bummed. So I pulled out my lures, and I put 3 lures out on these stops. And guess what happened?
2 people showed up?
No, man. Literally like 50 people converged. I was so excited. Like I geeked out. And this was terrible, but I made sure to let everyone know who put those lures up as they started to come through.
Who did this? Oh, it was me. It's me.
Yeah.
I'm the benefit of humanity.
Yes, I'm the Pokemaster. And so as people would come through, I kind of put it under the guise of, hey, I only had 3 lures to put up on these corners. So if anyone's got another lure that you could see how I kind of was sneaky about
subtle.
it.
Subtle.
Yeah, very subtle. And sure enough, someone put another lure up, and we had 4 lures going for a while. And then as the lures would fall off, other people would put it on. So I probably spent, a good hour there catching Pokemon, and it was cool to see that it still had that momentum, because like I said, I was a little concerned going into it that it had fallen off. So there have been some other things that have come out around Pokemon, because if there's one thing it does, it brings people together. There's a guy that lives a couple blocks away from me, and his name is Miles, and I met him the other night, and, we were talking about Pokemon and stuff. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that have made fast friends because of this. Another thing, we were downtown, and an Aerodactyl showed up, and everyone was running around saying, go get the Aerodactyl, it's that way. How did they know? There was an Aerodactyl? There's some companion sites and even apps that have cropped up that will tell you specifically which Pokemon are where and how much time you have to catch those Pokemon.
Here's a quick PSA on that. So there's Pokevision, which you can do from a browser.
Yes.
If it's an app, don't get it. Do not get an app, because if it's an app and it uses your Google account or your Facebook account to log in, it gets privy to that information. It can be malware.
Yeah.
I guarantee that Niantic nor the Pokemon people are okay with that type of app. So it may be on the up and up, but it's not really worth it. Anything that you can just access through a browser, though, and doesn't require you to log in, you're probably safe with it.
Well, Dan, and that's what I wanted to talk about with this, because I have a couple of issues with it. So one, absolutely, with the apps, I would not recommend using it either. And you'll know, because as soon as you go to download and install the app, it always tells you what permission it needs. And I guarantee it's going to say things like your contact list, or your photos, or your network.
Your camera.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff that it has no reason whatsoever to access. The Pokevision is just a website. If you Google Pokevision, it works just fine. You can click in the upper right-hand corner. There's a little navigation icon. It's like a plus sign, and you click on that, and it'll use your device to find out specifically where you are, and then it will show you in the vicinity the Pokemon that are around. Now, it's kind of neat, I guess, but I'll be honest, Dan, I'm a little bit bummed. So I know that Niantic has been going after a lot of the apps and stuff that have cropped up there, and actually shutting them down for improper use of their whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, and I'm kind of glad, because to me, it's like entering in a cheat code. And I don't like that. I mean, even though I used it for a little bit yesterday, probably all of like 10 minutes. And then I got rid of it, because to me, it kind of ruins part of the adventure or the fun of the game. It kind of makes it too easy to just track down these Pokemon.
Well, yeah, I think that's why they're squashing it too. They know where their bread is buttered. They know why their game is fun.
Yep.
That's why they're crashing down on people that spoof their GPS. Spoofing your GPS is making you seem like you're someplace that you're not.
Yeah.
So that you could, bounce to Boston, because I know Boston has a Snorlax right now. Things of that nature they're crushing down on to try and keep their game fair and fun all at the same time.
Well, and I hope they continue to be very aggressive there because, like I said, I was playing it and I realized it was ruining a lot of the fun if I knew exactly where the EVs were. And so earlier in the first episode, we talked about how, we would like to see a little bit more accuracy regarding it pointing you in the direction of the specific Pokemon and stuff like that. And I'll tell you, Dan, I've completely changed my stance on that. I don't want to know exactly where this Pokemon is. I think it's kind of cool if I know if it's close or not.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of cool. And maybe if it points you in the general direction so that you can try to triangulate. But I think it needs to continue to stay within a limited amount of distance.
You know what I would like? I mean, and they're not going to use my idea.
Yeah.
You bastards. But what if you got like a newsletter once a week and it was like, oh yeah, and do it in character, keep it tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
And just say, yeah, and a Snorlax has been spotted at XYZ location, somebody has seen this, and it would spawn in that area from time to time, so people may go to that church or that park more often looking for that specific Pokemon. But again, keep it in character, keep it fun, and then make sure that people still have to look and work for it.
Yeah, I like that. Even if it was that little trainer guy at the beginning that kind of tells you how to play the game.
Yeah.
And he pops up with a message in game and is like, hey, Dan, or hey, Phoenix, Squirtle's been, seen 2 blocks north or whatever, and maybe it doesn't happen a lot, but every once in a while. Or if they wanted to kind of, and people are going to throw eggs or whatever at me for saying this, but they wanted to monetize hints. Like you could get a certain amount of hints by getting different levels, like you get the Pokeballs. So you hit the hint and it tells you where a rare.
Well, you could just make it an item.
Yeah.
So like an item that you get at a high level. And because you can search for one specific Pokemon already.
Yeah.
You can pull it down from the menu and then you use that item and it just points an arrow. If there's one around, it points an arrow.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be very, very cool. So Dan, what about Pokemon dating?
Pokedates?
Yeah.
Or Pokemon match?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's real dumb, but people are lonely and they need to find commonality. I mean, to each their own, I guess. And people are going to get on this regardless. People are going to monetize on it in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, does it cost money?
Oh, yeah.
Dating?
Yeah.
Really?
They're not doing that for free, man. It's not out of the goodness of their heart.
Yeah, that's okay.
I think it's the one that I said, the Pokedates one, is something out of Chicago, and they're not super popular, but they have people that are fixers.
Okay.
That are basically they have a job to find somebody for you. So you pay $20 and they hook you up on a date with somebody, and obviously that person is not obligated to come and see you, but now they have Pokedates,
right,
which basically uses the same service to link you up with somebody. Oh, you like Pokemon? Hey, I do too. Let's go find a Pikachu. First date, success.
I'm going to say I think it's a great idea. And I think it's a great idea because it is a very low-key way to meet somebody, and it's a very low-pressure way to meet somebody. You're out in public catching Pokemon. I think it would be cooler, and maybe this is where it's going, if it was a little bit more immediate. Like, and it's part of the app where it's a separate app. So I'm out, I'm single, I put in my profile information and a picture of myself. And I put that I am ready to go on a Poke date. And someone's walking around and they are clicking through the profiles and they find my profile and they say, ooh, I would like to go on a Poke date with this person. So then they send a request to me. My phone goes off and I see their profile information. And if I like it, I click yes. And then it comes up and it sends us to each other via like directional navigation.
That's
right?
Tinder, man.
So, and that's what it's supposed to be, but it's supposed to be Tinder for Pokemon, where Tinder is unfortunately turned into the slut house of online dating.
Tindermon.
Yeah, the Pokemon dating, the Poke-inder or whatever, Poke-inder is what we'll call it.
That sounds super dirty.
Yeah, it'll be the rated G. It sounds terrible, but it'll be the rated G version of Tinder, where it's just it's a very lighthearted, friendly. Let's go catch some Charmander.
Okay, Blake. Sure. Let me tell you how this is going to work. So you, Blake, are walking in the park, and somebody is going through your profile, and her name is Shannon, and she sees your picture, and she's like, "Oh, he's kind of cute." So maybe I'll click on him. She has a cute picture on her profile, so you click on it. You're sure, yeah, I'll go meet up with you, and you prance through the meadow or whatever. The problem is that Shannon her real name is Steve, and she's like 340 pounds, and she, who's a he, is basically waiting with a bunch of drugs to drug you with in his rape van. You get passed out in the back of Steve's rape van. Things go poorly for you. Worst pokey date ever. That's what I think would happen.
I think that's a pretty dark
that's almost a lock
view on humanity. I don't think it'll go quite that bad. You're gonna have some people that are weirdos, just like you do on any dating site, Match.com, whatever. It does not matter. You do have people, but
if you go on PokeDate, you're 85% likely to get matched up with Steve, the Poke Rapist.
I disagree. What's cool about this is that a lot of girls are playing the game, and I think they will find it a nice, friendly way to potentially meet people. Poke dates, got to catch them all together. Join now to go on a Pokemon GO date, and of course you would have the ability to, if it does turn out to be Steve, get them banned until they find a way to re-sign up with another email or whatever. Obviously, it's up there now. It's projectfixup.com.
Oh, somebody clicked on my profile. What's her name? Totally not a dude. I'm intrigued.
Poor Dan. Such a terrible view of humanity. But anyway, Pokedates is powered by Project Fixup, a fun and convenient way to meet someone new, whether or not you play Pokemon Go. At Project Fixup, we believe that dating should be about getting out there, meeting new people, and enjoying the world around. Not sitting on your computer browsing, swiping, and messaging back and forth. That's kind of cool. It's a complete dig at the other dating sites out there. Project Fixup is about offline dating and saving you the hours of time you would spend online to end up with the same date. Project Fixup is for anyone that is single and up for getting fixed up. We cater to all ages, races, genders, and identities. So, I don't know, man. I'm actually kind of excited about this. I am not currently single, but
I met my wife the old-fashioned way. Damn it! There's no internet back then. There was totally an internet, but I didn't use it to find my girlfriend who became my wife. I used my charm.
Yeah. Well, you know that over half of relationships start online now, right?
That's real dumb.
It's legitimate. Well, what it does is it expands your reach. And in fact, technically, if it weren't for online dating, I wouldn't have the current girlfriend that I have. So even though we met each other not in an online capacity, it was actually because of Match.com that we ended up together.
I don't dig on Match.com, man. It's got that Orville Redenbacher looking motherfucker, that the professor. You know who I'm talking about?
I have
the guy that's
no idea.
The guy in all the commercials.
I don't watch normal TV. Sorry.
No.
But anyway, so that's another thing with Pokemon Go that's out there for any of you interested or not interested.
Don't do it.
I will recommend that you take advantage of it. Dan will recommend that you do not, because you
mothers keep your children inside
in a van. So you can go with what Dan says and not let your kids play anymore, because there are a bunch of people out there trying to put them in the van.
Also, PSA, don't invite pedophiles into the parks.
Yeah. Don't do that. Well, and you know it's it's kind of disappointing because I have heard stories of guys in a park, and I'm trying to remember where I read this online, but there's a guy in a park on his own playing Pokemon Go. There's a bunch of children playing, and all the moms are giving him glaring looks because maybe he's one of the more shut-in type of people that this is getting them to come outside. And they're getting all these glaring looks from the moms because the moms think that they're up to no good.
Well, I think I said this last time. If you see somebody out there, going back to the whole Team Instinct and Team Mythic and Team Valor thing, if you see somebody out there and they're of a different
Mystic,
team.
But yeah.
What did I say?
You said Mythic.
Yeah, whatever.
We're even up. I said Team Victory on the last one.
And you're actually of Team Valor.
Yeah.
That's real sad. They're
That
going to
was
kick you
real
out.
bad. That was Did you know, and I'll let you get back to it in just a second, Team Mystic is now the most popular team.
Where do you get that information from?
It was on actually NPR today. I don't what NPR. No, it was the Painkiller podcast. Something Painkiller podcast. But yeah.
Coming for you, Team Mythic.
Team Mythic, the stupid mystics from that blue team.
I will headbutt the shit out of you if I see you. If you throw up your Mystic gang sign,
Yep.
I'm just kidding. That goes back to my point, though.
Would they be like this?
No, they have signs. There are signs for your team.
Like this?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. I hope everyone on
we're on
the
a
podcast saw that.
everybody.
They saw
Did you
it.
see it?
They know what's up.
But in truth, if you are at a gym and you're battling, don't be a dick to people that are on other teams because that takes away from the game. I mean, yeah, have some fun joshing around, but like Blake said, there are some people that are shut-ins. They don't get out all the time. They're getting out into a social situation for the first time in a long time because of this game. Not everybody, not most people, but there are a few people. And even if they aren't a shut-in, it's generally nice to do what Will Wheaton says and don't be a dick.
Yeah. I agree wholeheartedly. And what's nice is I have had positive experiences with everyone that I've come across out there. I have not heard anyone, being jerks to each other or anything like that. It's all been very friendly. Now, I did see some people doing some of the stuff that you recommended they not do. I did see some names with swear words in them, which I thought was pretty disrespectful. So, again, like Dan said on the last episode, make sure that when you're renaming your Pokemon that you understand that people of all ages are going to be able to see that.
Well, they don't see them on the gyms, but your username they do see. So if you're like Big Beef 69,
right?
That's the same gym that a 6-year-old girl is going to try and get. And nobody thinks your name is sweet, man.
Yeah, it was something with ass in it, which is... whatever, but I think Niantic should probably go in and ban that as being part of your username.
Mm-hmm. That's why my username is MILFBanger68,
right.
Because 69 would be
banned.
A little much.
Yeah, it would probably get banned. It would get you in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So, yeah. Anyway, something else to be mindful of. What else have we learned since we've been playing? We've played a lot. What other tips do we have to help people? I think, just as a reminder, some of the things that will help: use your lucky eggs smart. So save up all those Tweedles, all those Ratatats, all those, what's the bird one? The easy Pidgey. Save all those Pidgeys and make sure that you crack a lucky egg right when you're about to evolve a bunch of stuff. So one of the things that I didn't do so well with at first is I would transfer all of my Pidgeys and then I would forget, oops, I actually need multiple Pidgeys to do these evolves.
Yeah, you have to evolve them with something.
Yeah, so that's another thing I've been watching is as I get more and more candy for some of these, feeder or leveling type Pokemon that you use just to level, which are your Pidgeys, your Rattatas, your Tweedles, Weedles, whatever, those types, is making sure that I'm always keeping an eye out for the divisible of what I need. So what do I mean by that? Well, each Pidgey costs 12 candies to evolve. So if you need 12 candies to evolve that Pidgey, and I've got 48 Pidgey candies, I know that I'm going to need 12 and 12 is 24, 24 and 24 is 48. I'm going to need 4 8 Pidgeys.
4 Pidgeys.
If I have 48,
If you have 48,
it'd be
it's
12
divisible.
and 12 is 24.
2 more. This is
And 48. Yep, you're right.
Yep.
4 Pidgeys. So just make sure you have that many. And then if you're short, the next one that you get, don't transfer it right away. Now, on the other side of that, you do want to, as you can, transfer them right away. Because as I know many of you have experienced, that swipe screen is one of the laggier ones. And it's much quicker to transfer them as you get them than to go in and have to transfer freaking 20 Pidgeys all at once. It's annoying and it's tiresome. So keep an eye on that. Divisible, make sure you have enough, but also make sure that any excess you're getting those transferred up. Plus it helps you keep a better running total. So that's one thing that I've run across. Anything that you've got?
As far, the incense to me, at least right now in the game's current iteration, seems like a waste. Basically, it gives you a Pokemon once every 200 meters, I think is what people found out it was, if you're walking. And all that really does to me, if I'm walking, I'm getting Pokemon anyways.
Yeah.
I don't seem to be getting a ton of rare Pokemon with those. I just get a bunch of stuff to waste Pokeballs on.
Yeah. So to that point, like Dan's saying, if you need some feeder Pokemon, that's probably really the only great thing about the incense right now, or as I like to call it, the purple ring of farts.
That follows.
Yeah, that follows. It does follow. So if you're gonna crack out a purple ring of farts, use it when you need the feeder Pokemon. But yeah, I haven't seen anything really good come out of that either.
And a McDonald's drive-thru seems like a magical place for some reason.
You are absolutely right.
I don't know why. They got a deal with Pokemon in Japan. There is not a deal in the United States.
Okay.
Maybe it's just the amount of people that are opening their phones and turning it on, and it's based on the people coming through. But yeah, if you go to don't go to McDonald's. It's horrible for you.
Yeah.
It's not worth the Pokemon to put that stuff in your body.
No, but in the parking lot is fine. So.
I like my sausage McMuffin. I'm not going to lie. I like sausage McMuffin.
Good.
I like a little bit of hash brown.
Yep.
I only eat half of that McMuffin.
They are good.
I throw half of the bun away.
Because they're chemically created to be good and make you feel bad after. But, to that point, there are a ton of people that in the McDonald's drive-thru, they open up their Pokemon Go app. And what this does is it creates a lot of momentum there. So I've noticed even if you pull into a McDonald's parking lot, you're going to be able to take advantage of that. You're going to notice right away 2-3 Pokemon just pop right up on your screen in that parking lot.
Well, we're going to be, and it's going to be weird because the GPS won't necessarily work that great in the con.
Yeah.
We're going to be at Gen Con.
Yep.
I'm really excited. I have been. Blake has not been.
Yep.
It's not something, if you haven't been, I strongly recommend it if you like gaming in any way, shape, or form. I have to go do more nerdy shit.
Thank you for listening to the Crushing Defeat podcast. Like we said, we just wanted to have a brief recap or update on the Pokemon Go application. My name is Blake Richards. With me is Dan Burrington.
Aloha. That
Peace
also
out.
means goodbye. It's by use. 2 uses.
Yep. Enjoy the Pokemon Go music on the way out. Peace out.